Welcome, everybody, to the Declare Your Independence podcast. This is the first podcast of its type. In 2025, we're going to continue to bring you podcasts to tell you how you can declare your independence. Here in the state of Delaware, of course, that's a play on words because we were the first state to declare our independence from Britain. But we also want to bring that feeling and that empowerment to every individual throughout the state of Delaware. As the state begins to and continues to grow larger and larger, many of us, including myself, believe that the way to empower people is to help them declare their independence and find their way to empower themselves to become stronger throughout their family, through their journey in faith, and to make stronger communities to help build a stronger state. Now, the first thing that we're going to go over is some of the things happening locally in our news. We see government overreach happening in 2024 and continuing in 2025. And we want to talk a little bit about what's going on throughout the state of Delaware, in the state legislature and in the executive branch, and how you as Delawareans can declare your independence and make sure that we have the power back to the people. The first thing is a parking garage that is planned for Dover. Now, this parking garage is not for the public to visit downtown, to visit the businesses in downtown, which have been struggling over the past couple of years, or to help people park to get to their jobs that are located in downtown Dover or somewhere else in the city of Dover. No, this parking garage is set for $150 million for individuals to get to Legislative Hall, more specifically for legislators to get to Legislative Hall. And I think the most concerning part about this parking garage is there is a planned underground tunnel specifically for legislators and their staff only, to direct them to the parking garage, bypass the public, and get directly to their offices in Legislative Hall. Now, personally, my parking spot is in front of Legislative Hall. I have served there for the last 7 years, and I love parking right out front of Legislative Hall. I'm approached by people all the time that have real concerns. Sometimes they're in my district, sometimes they're not in my district, but they wait there to talk to myself, other state representatives, other state senators, and they want to be heard. And sometimes this is the only way that they can be heard. Maybe their email was not returned, maybe their phone call was not returned, and this is their chance to talk with their state representative or their state senator. It is very important that people know that this is going on. The construction now is being planned for this tunnel, and the ability for state representatives and state senators that are elected by their people to represent them to bypass any public interaction, I think is something that most people would agree needs to not happen. Now, the next meeting about this parking garage and this tunnel will be in February, and I suggest that people contact their state representative, contact their state senator, and say, you know what, this is the people's house in Dover. This is where we elected, through fair elections, we elected people to represent us in Dover, and we want the opportunity to talk directly to our elected officials at any time, whether it's where they park, coming out of their car, or whether it's in the building, to and from the building. This is our opportunity to have our voices heard. I have to say personally, from parking in front of Legislative Hall, not only do I have people approach me, but we're right between Legislative Mall as well, where a lot of times people host their protests, they host their gatherings, and I go over there and I talk personally with people to see what's going on, to hear from their concerns, to hear their ideas, and it's something that adds to the process, the public process that is necessary. So again, February will be the next public meeting. You can go to legis.delaware.gov to get that, to get the email or the phone number from your state representatives or state senators, and please let's be together on this and say that we do not want a tunnel, a private tunnel for public officials. The next piece of news that I really want to press on to people, and I've heard a lot of concerns in our community and also throughout the state of Delaware, was shared by the News Journal a month ago, and it had to do with our public safety. If you've been to a strip mall in the state of Delaware, or you've been to a high trafficked area, you've seen people that are panhandling. Now, there have been instances where municipalities like the city of Milford, where I'm from, have tried to address this, and they've tried to set up laws that say you cannot panhandle or aggressively panhandle within a certain range of those intersections. Now, the AG's office, the Attorney General's office, Kathy Jennings, came back and stated to all the municipalities, all the law enforcement offices within the state of Delaware, that they should not arrest or make any further laws for people that are panhandling or aggressively panhandling people throughout the state of Delaware. This came from a 2023 lawsuit from the ACLU that said that individuals were having their First Amendment rights taken away by not being able to panhandle throughout the state of Delaware. And this is a controversy that's going to be taken on and challenged this year. There are two sides of the coin. One is that obviously you want to make sure that people's constitutional rights are protected, that they can be in a public space, they can ask for help, they can ask for write signs to say whatever they want. We want to make sure that we don't abandon people's opportunity to have their First Amendment right. On the other side, what I hear as a state representative is individuals coming to me. A lot of times they are women, a lot of times they are mothers with children that are harassed within parking lots and saying, where's our protections? Why are the police, even when we call them, not allowed to do something about individuals that are harassing me for money, harassing me for my time and attention over and over again in the same parking lots when I'm trying to get my children in the car, when I'm trying to come out of the store with groceries. And this is going to become a big debate here in 2024 into 2025. So I urge you to become part of the conversation. There will be a bill. I am currently working on a bill right now that will address this aggressive panhandling, and I'm sure that the Attorney General will have some words and some comments to say about that, and also the ACLU. But I think it's going to come to the forefront this year, so stay tuned for more information on that. The Attorney General says that she will have a plan within the next 6 months. But people right now are saying, we don't want to be harassed anymore. We don't want to wait 6 months. And law enforcement themselves are saying, we don't have a direction. If we don't have a direction, and we are being told to not prosecute or not even enforce laws from the top law enforcement officer in the state of Delaware, we don't have a vision to move forward. So it's time that laws are put on the book that address this, that allow for our first responders to have clear vision of what they can and cannot do. And I think you will be seeing this in January, February, coming to Legislative Hall. Now, the third thing that we're going to address today is something that residents throughout the state of Delaware have been talking for quite a while, and that is development. The development growth in the state of Delaware is actually the 6th fastest growing state nationwide. And there are many people on the spectrum all over the place that say, there's a lot of people who want to move to Delaware and then they want to shut the gate behind them and have a moratorium on development. There are people who want to slow the growth. There are also people who say, hey, the growth is coming, but we want to have mechanisms to help with the infrastructure, to help with fire and police and EMS response. We want to help with the expanding schools. And these are all things that will start to needs to be addressed. And this is something that there are a lot of fingers being pointed. The state points to the county points to the municipalities, but there needs to be a collaboration between the state, the counties, and the municipalities to all come together and say, hey, we need a comprehensive plan to work on development. What are the projections coming in the next 10, 20, 50 years? And how can we work together to ensure that people have infrastructure, the right amount of infrastructure, the right amount of police, fire, and EMS presence, and also the right amount of school expansion?